First on the agenda,
Commission will now take up matters to do with special one-day license for alcohol beverages, for malt beverages and wine only, or either one. Adriana Stefano for Thursday, July 16, 2009, from 4 p.m. to 12 midnight. The event is the Arts of Lowell Walkathon, to be held at the Revolving Museum at 22 Shattuck Street. Flor E. Monsalve for Saturday, August 15, 2009, from 2 p.m. to 1 a.m. The event is a wedding reception for Acedos Donna Flor Restaurant at 197 High Street. Applications for all alcoholic beverages: Emily Kionis of the Under Impact Pub and Lounge, Inc., an enclosed public area at Palmer Street, the corner of Merrimack Street, for the Lowell Folk Festival 2009, Friday, July 24, 2009, from 6 p.m. to 12 midnight, Saturday, July 25th, from 11 a.m. to 12 midnight, and Sunday, July 26th, from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. Robin E. Tupel of Cobblestones, an enclosed public area adjacent to 91 Dutton Street, the Lowell Folk Festival 2009, for Saturday, July 25th, 2009, from 11 a.m. to 12 midnight, Sunday, July 26th, from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. Jerry Murphy of Camden, Inc., doing business as Old Court, an enclosed public area, Middle Street, at the corner of Central, the Lowell Folk Festival 2009, for Friday, July 24th, 2009, from 5 p.m. to 12 midnight, Saturday, July 25th, from 12 noon to 12 midnight. Theodore Panagiotopoulos of the Athenian Corner Restaurant, for an enclosed private parking area at 207 Market Street, the Lowell Folk Festival 2009, for Friday, July 24th, from 11 a.m. to 1 a.m., Saturday, July 25th, from 11 a.m. to 1 a.m., and Sunday, July 26th, 2009, from 11 a.m. to 1 a.m. Also, John S. Vitorino of the Portuguese American Civic League, a members picnic for Saturday, August 1st, 2009, from 12 noon to 6 p.m., an enclosed parking lot adjacent to 512 Central Street.
okay, if your name was called and you've got a license, please step up to the lectern here, if you would, so we can go down the list. Adriana, why don't you start, introduce yourself for the record.
Now with Cafe Paradiso and for one-day license at the Revolving Museum for
Okay.
the Lowell Lowell Art Walk.
Okay, next.
Okay. Flor Beltran from Acedos Donna Flor.
Okay, next.
Robin
Flora.
Dupel from Cobblestones.
I'm sorry?
Robin Dupel from
Okay.
Cobblestones.
John Vitorino, the club manager of the Portuguese American Civic League.
Okay,
Jerry Murphy from the Old Court.
okay, Jerry. Yeah, next.
Theodore Panagiotopoulos, Athenian Corner.
Okay,
Do we have anybody here from the Under Impact?
no? Okay.
Mr. Chairman,
What?
with respect to Flor Monsalve, the daughter of Flor is here.
My mom, does she needs to be present?
Come to the
Come to the mic, please.
Does my mom needs to be present right now?
That's the understanding.
Yes.
Oh, okay, she's downstairs. Can I come
Yep.
back in 2 minutes? Okay.
Is she just in the hallway or out?
No, because she has a problem with her leg, so she came from upstairs, but she came
Okay, how old are you?
24.
That's fine.
It's all right, stay here. Okay? All right. The next time, the building is handicap accessible. Okay, so if you go for another license, you should try to make an effort, because we're going to make sure, hopefully, that you are going to explain this to your mother. Okay? All right, how many people here have been before us before? Okay. The commission has always been concerned about one-day licenses. Okay? Adriana, I'm going to probably use you as an example. You are going to be over at the Revolving Museum. You know, this is not your restaurant. Now you're moving into another area, okay, that you're going to become responsible for. So now you're responsible for the museum and you're responsible for the restaurant. And we all know you can only be in one place at once. And we haven't had any problems with the restaurant, and we thank you for that. And, you know, that being said, I'm sure you're going to carry that vigilance to the museum with you. Okay, there's one group, let me just see here for a second, okay? Theodore, Panagiotopolis, you're gonna go to 1 o'clock in the morning. Your license, you wanna have, serving drinks until 1 in the morning. You are right across the street from, the housing, okay? Yeah, it's gonna be in the park, in your parking area, right?
Correct.
Okay, have you done that before there?
No.
No, okay. Please listen carefully, okay? There are a lot of senior citizens that live in that building. That's a solid walled building. The sound or the noise, forgetting the noise, forgetting the band or the record player or CD or whatever it is, just people, they're gonna go out to have a good time. There's no two ways about it. And unfortunately, you're in the business, and most of you are here, you know that, people say, oh, it's 12 o'clock. They're gonna stop serving at 12:30, we better get a couple more, we haven't had enough. And that's when the problems start. That's when the volume of the noise goes up, okay? The night has gotten on. Folks now, instead of talking to each other, are shouting at each other. And you know what? The people that are living in the housing, they have a right. And they understand, and we understand, and we try to bring this together, that the folk festival is on and everybody's in town to have a good time. And it'd be super great if we had somewhere that, the ones that wanted quiet could go and have a nice quiet, but it doesn't happen because the folk festival's throughout the whole downtown area. And we hope you all make $1 million at it. Believe me. Because we want people to leave and come back to Lowell and say, let's go to Lowell, what a great time we had, okay? I'm going to say this because I'm going to be talking to Captain Webb about this. I drive around the city, I see people who have the outdoor patios, and they're pushing them out. You need a 4-foot span. You need to be able to push a wheelchair safely down the street. Take that back. Safely down the sidewalk. That's what the sidewalk's for, okay? The city's allowing you to use a piece of it. Do not encroach on the public way. Make sure that you keep, and you know how people will get together and they will sit at a table, and all of a sudden it seemed like they, push the chair out a little, and before you know it, they're halfway down the street. Well, you have to be the ones to enforce it. You have to be the ones to enforce and say, we can't do that. We have to stay in front of my place of business and within these confines, because if someone comes down the street, they have the right to walk by, okay? The other thing I want to remind you all of is this is your license. This is not the Portuguese American. This is not the revolving museum. This is not, this is your license, okay? If your license is for serving alcohol, whether beer, wine, or all alcohol, outdoors in an outdoor patio or enclosed area, during the folk festival, you make sure that you have your license posted right where the cash register is. I'm not talking about behind the cash register. I'm not talking under the counter. I'm saying right there. We do not want the police coming in saying, where was your license? It should be there so they don't have to ask. There also should be a little drawing of what area you're serving in. That area needs to be defined by either a fence, a barrier of some type. If you've got a parking lot and the parking lot's totally enclosed, you're okay. But you need that area defined, okay? And if you're encroaching onto the sidewalk, you need to make sure you leave enough space for somebody to be able to go by safely, okay? Are you an officer of the club?
Yes,
You are?
I'm the manager.
You're a manager. Does that make you an officer?
No, I'm not an officer, I'm an
Yeah.
employee of the club. I
I'm
work
s-
full-time. I'm an employee,
Come on up to the microphone.
I'm an employee of the club, I work full-time for the club.
Oh, you're the manager of
Yes.
record? Okay, all right, yep, that's it, all right, fine, no problem at all. Anybody have any questions? Any questions at all? Please make sure you explain this to your mom, tell her, Mom, this is your license, not mine, this is yours, okay? All right. Any questions?
I have no questions.
Any questions?
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second the motion.
Motion made and seconded, all in favor, say yes.
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 Good luck,
Okay,
guys.
good luck. I hope the weather holds. I hope you have a great turnout. Some of you are here for amplified sound. If you're just going to stay, that'll be the next license.
Commission will now take up the matter of applications for special events permit for amplified outdoor public entertainment. Emily Keonis? Okay. ATP Restaurant, Inc., doing business as Cobblestones, Robin E. DuPel, representative, the all-alcoholic beverage restaurant licensee at 91 Dutton Street. During Lowell Folk Festival weekend, band acoustic duo with sound system for Saturday, July 25th, and Sunday, July 26, 2009, in enclosed outdoor area in front of 91 Dutton. Camden Inc., doing business as The Old Court, Jerry Murphy, manager, the all-alcoholic beverages restaurant licensee at 29-31 Central Street. During Folk Festival weekend, band with the sound system for Friday, July 24th, Saturday, July 25th, in an enclosed outdoor area on Middle Street, the corner of Central. The Portuguese American Civic League, John S. Vitorino, manager, the all-alcoholic beverages club licensee at 512 Central Street, for a members picnic for Saturday, August 1st, 2009, from 12 noon to 6 p.m. in the parking lot of the club at 512 Central Street. There will be amplification for a sound system with the disc jockey. The Athenian Corner and Restaurant and Lounge, Inc., Theodore Panagiotis, representative, the all-alcoholic beverages restaurant licensee at 207 Market Street. During Folk Festival weekend, for the band with the sound system for Friday, July 24th, Saturday, July 25th, Sunday, July 26th, 2009, in enclosed parking lot adjacent to 207 Market Street. Valerie Parker? Okay. Representative of Valerie Parker? Okay.
Okay, introduce yourself, please.
Robin DuPel from Cobblestones.
John Vitorino, Portuguese American Civic League.
Yeah,
Jerry Murphy from the Old Court.
okay,
Theodore Panagiotis, Athenian Corner.
okay. Amplified sound is a common sense license. The first thing you need to know, if there is anything going on that is a folk festival event, your music stops. Everybody understand that? If a folk festival event, if they're playing music or dance up, your music stops until their event is over. It's the folk festival first. Second, it's a common sense license. If you can walk 3 blocks down from where you are and hear your disc jockey, something's wrong. Do not try to compete with the guy down the next corner. It doesn't become a contest of who plays the noise the loudest, and most of it to me is noise, okay? But who plays it the loudest is going to get the most customers. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Okay? Common sense. That's what it comes down to. That's all this license is about, is saying, use your head, you're in a downtown area, don't keep the neighbors awake, you're in the neighborhood over there, you know, I don't need to go into the Portuguese neighborhood. It's had its many problems before. You don't want to be the guys being labeled with the problems, okay? Do they need a license for Sunday?
It's only one. It's only the Athenian Corner.
Yeah, do they need a license to operate that on Sunday? No, okay. All right, I was just checking, I didn't know if you needed a sound license to...
Just in regards to Sunday, you're the only one that has a Sunday. Just typically, we use the shut off at 10 p.m. and not the midnight. I know you'll use proper discretion, but...
I applied for 7:30 to
Okay.
10 on the night, on all the nights, that'd be the latest. Could I ask a question about acoustic? I'm not sure yet if...
Yeah, come right up to the mic here, yep.
We're not sure yet if the music will be acoustic on any or possibly all 3 of the nights. If there is something going on at one of the stages, are we allowed to do acoustic music? And the question is
As
more
long
for
as-
Sunday afternoon.
Yeah.
I think the standard was as long as your music is not interfering with what's going on
With
on
their
the
music.
stage.
You have one stage over there by the corner.
Right.
Right.
I think common sense would say that if it was my restaurant and I was standing in the parking lot and I could hear the music from over there, I would not have my music play.
Okay.
The common sense license, okay? If the music's coming over there, obviously whatever you're gonna play is gonna interfere with it. On the other side, you might also wanna give some thought to, instead of blowing your music out in the street, blow it into the
Towards the
parking
back.
lot against that wall, it'll, is there apartments in that? Is there apartments in that?
In mine, no.
That's where the museum is, right?
Behind us is the
Behind.
museum, but if
You know?
they blow it out to the parking lot, it goes all the way out to the park across Shattuck Street,
Right.
so that's
You
what we
know,
were
So that
planning.
might be a thought. But if I could hear the music down the street from theirs, I don't think I'd probably have mine going,
Okay, thank you.
just to be safe. You were gonna say, Mr.
Well, I just wanted to remind the public in the fact that this is a city ordinance, first and foremost, and that by the council that was approved to amend the ordinance to allow for designated hours for amplification at specified venues that are approved by the License Commission. And where this being the Folk Festival weekend, as you just mentioned, the fact that the primary sites of the festival take precedence, but also the Lowell Police Department being in a situation where there's going to be a high traffic area in the areas where these folks are going to have their outdoor activity. They may have other ideas about when certain streets may have to be opened up or when certain streets may remain closed. So that may have some basis on how long some of the venues may be able to continue with their sound system. Sunday night, by city ordinance, the shut-off is at 10 p.m. That also applies on Monday night, Tuesday night, and Wednesday night. It comes to Thursday night, Friday, and Saturday nights when the city ordinance allows for a 12 midnight shut-off for amplification.
Okay. Any other questions? Anybody make a motion to approve the license?
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
All in favor, say yes.
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 Okay? If the policeman comes up or somebody from the park and says it's too noisy, don't argue with them, because you won't be here next year, I'll guarantee you. They're the judge of it, okay? If it's too noisy, it's too noisy, okay? Thank you. Next on the agenda.
Commissioner, I'll take up matters to do with the application for sidewalk stand permit. Connie Cullum, of the Executive Director of the New England Quilt Museum for 18 Shattuck Street for the Lowell Folk Festival weekend, July 24th, 25th, 26th, 2009. G&L Harding LLC, doing business as Giovanni's, Greg Harding, manager, 134 Merrimack Street, also Lowell Folk Festival weekend, 24th, 25th, and 26th of July. Valerie Parker? Okay. The Say LLC, Mark Caputo, manager, 177 Merrimack Street, Lowell Folk Festival weekend, July 24th, 25th, 26th. Is Gene Osborne here? The Greater Lowell Chamber of Commerce, Gene L. Osborne, President, 131 Merrimack Street, the Lowell Folk Festival weekend, July 24th, 25th, 26th, 2009.
Okay. Step up and introduce yourself for the record, please.
Connie Colum, the New England Quilt Museum.
Okay?
Greg Harding, Giovanni's Trends.
Okay?
Mark Caputo, Say.
Okay?
Jean Osborne, Greater Lowell Chamber of Commerce.
Okay. Valerie's not here. No? Okay. All right. I'm sure you've all gotten your insurance policies on file with the city, or? Okay. What I spoke to them before about, I say again, I'm gonna repeat to you folks, okay? Make sure you do not block the sidewalk. Make sure that there's a 4-foot right-of-way so people can go by in a wheelchair or a walker or whatnot, trip on the leg of your chair or the leg of your table or anything like that. According to, as I understand it, you can only sell those items that you normally sell in your store. All right? I would definitely, again, I would ask that you put your permit right up where somebody can see it with a little drawing so that there's no questions, don't encroach on the sidewalk, and I don't see that there'd be any problems. You have any questions?
I'll go ahead and I'll make the motion to approve. I wish you
second
guys
it.
luck.
Motion made and seconded, all in favor say yes.
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 take care of it later. I'll send out the license later. Mr. Chairman, my mistake in passing over on an application for a public amusement license inadvertently. We have a license application for a concert. Wilco is the performing band. It'll be, the promoter is the Diamond Action Inc. Tim Bauman is the general manager. This will be for Saturday, July 11, 2009, from 7 p.m. to 11 p.m. The event is scheduled to take place at the Lasher Ballpark at 450 Aiken Street.
Okay, introduce yourself for the record, please.
Tim Ballman, Vice President, Lowell Spinners.
Okay. And Tim, you're the promoter?
Actually, we are the host. There's a separate concert promoter, but I'm not sure how the legality of it is. But
Well, there is a legality because...
it's the same process that we had last year with the Dropkick Murphys concert. I
will probably refer to legal counsel. We had a situation before where, doesn't somebody promoting a show have to have a license from the state to do that? I don't, maybe I'm mistaken. I'm mistaken? Okay, I'm mistaken. The secretary tells me I'm mistaken. It's not the first time he's told me that, you know? So, okay. Anybody, do you know anything about these?
No, you stumped me, Wallach. You did.
Wilco?
You stumped me.
I stumped you. Oh,
I think
okay.
James might know about Wilco.
Anybody can tell us anything about it? What kind? Is it a hot? Yeah, come on. Oh, geez. That doesn't tell me much. No, is it like a... No, is it a rock band? Is it a Willie Nelson type thing? Is it something I'd be at?
Pretty quiet, yeah. We'll keep the sound down.
What is it? What kind of a band is it?
It's I'm told it's a college band, and I don't know them personally or their music. I'm told it's a college band. It's also a band that reaches the demographics of 45 and up. So it's probably soft rock. James, do you know him?
Oh my gosh, this is going to be great.
Yeah, he
Nobody's
works for
ever
the
heard-
university, so I
This
figured
is
he might know.
A mystery band.
We're going to find out Saturday night.
I'm sure we're going to. I'm afraid of that. That's why I want to know what it is.
It's certainly not hard rock, if that's what
Certainly
your
not.
concern
Okay,
is.
I can hold
Definitely
you to
not
that.
hard rock. You can hold
We
me
can
to
have
that.
a human sacrifice right out here in front of City Hall.
Absolutely, that's correct.
Okay. Oh, I'm sure there would be.
There is today.
Well, what did they say in the paper? Oh, wow. Okay.
I'll make a
Everybody
motion
just
to
read the
approve.
We're gonna,
Yeah, I'll second the motion.
The only thing you're gonna get yourself in trouble is volume of noise. You know that.
Yeah, I
okay?
do. I'm very
I don't
aware
need
of
to
that, yes.
get
We will
into that,
certainly be
okay?
done by 11
We got a
o'clock.
motion made and seconded. All in favor, say yes.
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 Thank you. We're home tonight, 7 o'clock. Jed Lowry might be in the house. Come see us.
You wanna do that one? Next on the agenda.
Commission will now take up the matter that had been continued from the meeting of June 25th, 2009, hearing on the application by Lowell Sports Club, Inc., Manuel A. Silva, President, the all-alcoholic beverage club licensee at 490 Central Street, requesting alteration of premises, that being outdoor seating at the perimeter of the building. Originally was intended for the building all around the open space, 1,200 square feet in total, but based on discussion of the meeting, at the meeting on the hearing of last June 25th, that had been reduced to only the frontage of the building itself.
Introduce yourself for the record, please.
Danny Silva, Lowell Sports Club.
Okay. Do we have to make like a motion to go, or just go into the meeting? Do we have to make a motion to resume? We did, okay. All right. Manny, on this thing here, I see what you've done. Drove by a couple of times this week to look at it, try to get a feel for it, okay? I can understand, I got two questions. Number one is, I thought we specifically talked about what were you gonna put up for a barrier. I want a drawing, I wanna know exactly what you're gonna put up for a barrier.
Well, I was gonna go with the fire hydrants with two or three lines of fire hose across both of them. I haven't got the fire hose yet.
Yeah, well, I don't think that, I mean, and I'm not trying to be difficult, I'm trying to just figure something out here. Okay, it's a private club. You've got a club license. People coming down the street, you're gonna have an outdoor patio area. How do you control that?
I could put a gate in the front if you like.
Actually, I guess what we were getting at was, there's pretty much a consistent pattern of what people put up for barriers with their outdoor areas. They're usually, we're looking at some kind of barriers, some of them covered. I think if you walked around downtown, you'd see them. We're looking for something a little more substantial that's not a pass-through.
I've seen a few different ones downtown.
Okay.
And I've also seen the ones with the chains across, and I've also seen the ones that look like fences with covers on
Yeah,
them.
but they're not private clubs, they're
Okay.
restaurants.
what would
You've
you
got
like?
more of a definition here. We
All
need,
right, what would you like?
I don't know. It's not,
I thought the idea with the fire hydrants, with the poles, with the chains across, or...
I've seen the fire hydrants out there, if you could incorporate them into something, I think it looks, I mean, I'm not saying that doesn't look good, but it's not enough.
Okay.
But you've got a club license, all right? It's entirely different than a restaurant license or a license in the downtown area where people, have the, and I don't want you to think for a moment I'm throwing stones at you or anything. We've had a lot of problems in that neighborhood. And I think that we need to make sure whatever we get into at this point, we know exactly where we're going with it. That, I think I thought I had explained myself quite well at the last meeting, that I told you the front of the building, and I can see that you've done that.
Yep.
You're gonna use that little side here, so you're gonna run another fence down there?
Eventually I'm gonna run a fence there where I can store these tables and chairs down the side when I'm not using them.
You have that much space on that side?
There's 3 feet there.
Is there really?
Yeah.
Okay.
3 feet on my deed. I mean, I know it's there.
No, okay.
What would you prefer me put it up there?
I don't know. I really don't know. But I need something that defines the area, and, even what you just said, a gate out front, so that the front gate for the patio, see, you're gonna have people walk through your patio area to get in the club.
That's correct.
Okay? And I think you're gonna need appropriate signage that's gonna say this is a private club area. Okay?
I believe there's one on the front of the building
sign on
already.
the building.
Oh, all right.
It says members
on
and
the
guests.
fence? Sure, we can do that.
Okay?
Yep.
But maybe
I guess here's the thing. It's a private club. All right, every other club, and, you get buzzed in, you have a card to get in, you have some means of accessing the club that's separate and distinct from the general public.
Right.
So we need something like that as far as a barrier for the outdoors.
Yep.
Well, we can put a gate.
Okay. And you gotta, well, you know, I'm not a, you know, I'm not but I need something to define this area, because I need to make, I need to know that, you know, we don't need to get into, you know, people coming in, they're gonna walk in, and then after, say, oh,
Would you
you know,
prefer
I
like
didn't realize
lattice
they...
work between them two?
Huh?
Lattice work, the white plastic lattice?
Something 4 foot high?
Sure, we could do that.
Okay, you know what you can do? You can build a barrier and
Sure.
get some wooden ladders.
Yeah, well, I use the vinyl.
Now, listen
the white.
carefully. I'll
Okay.
tell you what you can do. Get some wooden ladders, build like a post and rail fence, only
Mm-hmm.
make the rails out of the ladder and suspend it with fire hose or
Okay.
some axes or something. It'll
Right.
make it
Yeah.
look, but at least it'll be 4 foot high.
All right, and this is just a suggestion, we're not giving you
No,
decorating
no,
techniques.
I'm not. I'm just saying, he
Okay.
gave me an idea, I passed the idea on to him.
All right, and I'm going to object to the idea of axes. I don't think axes and alcohol are a good combination.
Okay, all right, he doesn't like the idea, but something like that, that's 4 foot high, and what it would mean, like, I'm
Well, I can
sitting...
connect them to those poles with the fire hydrants. I mean, with the fire extinguishers, I can connect it with that. I have more of those.
I'm sitting here, I can't pass a drink out.
Yep.
I have to reach up, and
Will, 4 feet?
then when people come down the
But
street...
would you mind if I used the vinyl ones?
Oh, I don't care what you
Okay,
do.
you
I'm
were
not
saying
trying to
wood.
tell you.
The
I
vinyl
want a
wouldn't
barrier.
get-
I want a definite barrier, I want a gate that people have to use to get in the club, so they know that it's a private club.
Yes, sir.
Okay?
Yep,
Bring the drawing back, and we'll get together.
Okay.
No problem at all.
I will say that I do appreciate actually getting a visual mock-up, because it made it very easy to, you know,
Yep.
know what we're talking about, so.
Okay.
But yeah, no, we're looking for something that's a solid barrier that you can't pass drinks through.
and I'll get that done sometime between now and next week, and I'll drop off the pictures to
Okay.
Ryan. How's that?
Fine and
Great.
dandy.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next.
Mr. Chairman, on the matter to do at Lowell Sports Club,
Yeah.
should this be continued to the meeting of July 23rd?
Sure.
Continue to the next meeting date, July 23rd. 23.
23. Yep.
Hummels.
Commission will now take up or open a hearing on the transfer of the all alcoholic beverages hotel license from LHG Beverage Services, Inc., Elizabeth A. Prosciani, President, to Riverhawks, Inc., Jacqueline Maloney, President, for premises at 50 Warren Street. It is requested that Deborah Poudry of Beverly, Mass. Be approved as manager of record for Riverhawks, Inc. And also Riverhawks, Inc. has filed applications for the following licenses: license for inn holder, license for entertainment in a licensed hotel for live music disc jockey jukebox, and also license for automatic amusement device.
Introduce yourself for the record, please.
Mr. Chairman, board members, George Cielides Jr., 133 Market Street, Lowell, and I'm here this afternoon representing the University of Massachusetts Lowell, Chancellor Meehan, and in essence at the same time the building authority, the University of Massachusetts Building Authority, as well as the newly formed corporation, basically the applicant here today, Riverhawks Inc. A little bit of background. I'll try to be brief. I should ask, first of all, did all of you get a copy of the brochure? I know it isn't directly applicable to the matters that are before the board with reference to the license itself, but I thought it would be a good opportunity to give you some background relative to what is planned here. As I'm sure you probably have heard by now, the University of Massachusetts Lowell is in the process of attempting to, and we believe it will be shortly, acquiring what is now known as the DoubleTree Hotel in downtown Lowell, 50 Warren Street. In doing so, the university has asked the University Building Authority to acquire the property because, generally speaking, most of the property that's used in conjunction with the use of the university is acquired or owned or used by them. Not all of it, but in this case, they've asked the building authority to buy the property. In buying the property, what the university hopes and intends to do is to convert it into an inn and conference center. These are becoming more and more common on college and university campuses today, where there's an integration of a hotel, boutique hotels, as a lot of them are referred to, and housing and other facilities all mixed together to make facilities available which would be a lot more useful for the operation of the institution. And in this case, obviously, some of the things that we think are going to be benefits, most especially to the city of Lowell along the way, as well as to the university, by having this acquisition and having this inn and conference center take place, are that it's going to be a big asset to downtown Lowell by bringing a lot more people into downtown Lowell, both in the form of students and in the form of visitors to the downtown. It will assure, I think, I can say, the use, availability, and vibrancy of a hotel in downtown Lowell, because I'm sure you're well aware of the fact that currently the hotel, for the last few years, that the various operators of the hotel have struggled in terms of the use and occupancy of the premises. It'll bring more events to downtown Lowell. It's going to hopefully complement the new Hamilton Canal District. It'll definitely help increase, we believe, the enrollment at University of Massachusetts Lowell, which we think is a very, very important thing. And not just the enrollment, but by bringing the students closer to the community and giving them residential facilities as opposed to just being strictly what in years past was a commuter school. And we think that's very significant, both for the university and for the city itself. There are opportunities for the university, being the proximity of the hotel, to partner even more so with Middlesex Community College, and there's housing for visiting scholars that'll be available, and they'll be able to carry on some of these seminars in a much better and efficient fashion that have been happening. Plastic seminars in years past, project management seminars, corporate training facilities, etc. Most of which I just alluded to is outlined in the brochure, which is why I wanted to at least get that information to you. Riverhawk's the name of our new corporation, which will be hopefully basically managing or assisting in the management of the new facility, is a brand that we're trying to build up. The university is trying to build up that identity, just as many colleges do, whether they're the Mustangs or whatever it might be. We want people to know a better identity of who the Riverhawks are and what they mean to this community. So that's why we think it's a very important part of that particular aspect of it. The corporation is a non-profit corporation. It's comprised basically of 3 people, all of whom are employees of the university. One of them is Jacqueline Maloney, who's the Executive Vice Chancellor. She's not able to be with us today because, lucky for her, she's on vacation. Some of you may know Jackie has a strong Lowell connection. Her husband's a fellow attorney in the city of Lowell, and she spent a great deal giving her a lot of assistance to the city of Lowell. We have also Deborah Poudry, who unfortunately we were just made aware today has been diagnosed with the Lyme disease case, and she's our designated manager right now, and I'll speak to that issue in a second if I can. And she's not able to make it, we just found out today. So we have Joanne Yastrzemski here, no relation to Carl, who is our Joanne has the title, I really like this because it shows all the work she has to do, Vice Chancellor of Administration, Finances, Facilities, and Technology. So she's got her hands full and does an awful lot at the university. We also have present with us today some extra people who I asked to come along for the ability to be able to answer any of the questions the commissioners might have with reference to this integration of students in a hotel and a working facility and things like that. So, and also obviously your biggest concern, which is probably the issue of liquor being in a facility where there are students housed. So for that purpose, next to Joanne is Brenda Ryan Newton. Brenda traveled all the way from Amherst to see and be with us today, and she's been very much responsible with the operations of the Inn and Conference Center that UMass Amherst has, and has been very helpful in assisting the folks here in Lowell on how to put together this operation and meld the two together. James Cole, who's our housing director and the guy who has all the headaches of housing students. And last but not least, we have Steve Lambert, who, interestingly enough, and we thought he was nice enough to offer on his own to come up here. Steve manages and is involved with the Radisson Hotel in Nashua, where, because of the lack of housing facilities for students in the area, many of the UMass Lowell students have had to be housed. Steve can give you information, if you'd like to, as to how they were very easily able to integrate the two operations, the housing of students and the running of the hotel. So, in addition to that, I think you also have with you that I unfortunately wasn't able to get till earlier today, but as you might expect, a deal of this size and significance is quite complicated in terms of paperwork and whatever. The purchase and sales agreement is literally over 100 pages and stacked with things. So I finally was able to get a correspondence from counsel at Burns and Levinson in Boston, who are the general counsel to the building authority, to outline the financial aspects and the lease aspects of the deal for you. So that said, we are hopeful that in the near future, they're scheduled to close the deal July 31. We actually probably won't be taking over operations until September 1, but we want to get ready in the interim period of time. So we're looking very much forward to a new endeavor in the city, and I think something that's going to be great for everybody. And I think that's basically all I'm going to say for now, but I certainly, as I said, have these folks here who are willing to answer any questions that come about as part of the hearing.
Okay.
Thank you,
Why don't
Mr.
we take care of the public hearing portion of it? And is there anyone here to speak in opposition? In opposition? Yes, come right, introduce yourself.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. My name is Harry Brett. My position is business agent for Plumbers Local 12 in Boston, but I'm here representing the United Association of Plumbers, Pipe Fitters, Sprinkler Fitters, and Apprentices. Represent about 5,000 members in eastern Massachusetts, and at this time, we're opposed to this due to the fact, number one, after listening to the attorney's opening remarks, that some of the people who are going to be the principals of this operation aren't even here. I want to preface my comments that we do support the university system. UMass Lowell, known for their engineering. Plumbers Local 12 gives out scholarships every year on behalf of members' children to attend the school up here. I recently stayed in the hotel. A couple weekends ago, my daughter played in a soccer tournament up in Tewksbury, and the team that she played for, we all stayed at the hotel. And just a quick observance, and I knew that the transaction was going through, you know, with the river on one side, the pool in the building, and liquor involved. There is something that the licensing board really has to take into consideration here. I'm sure you'll hear folks from their side that say they're all great kids, never an issue, but you know, the way this is going to be structured now, the school building authority seems to going to be the landowner here, and kind of cuts out the Lowell portion of it. But if, God forbid, there was a tragedy here, you will have the University of Lowell being right in the crosshairs of all the criticisms until, you know, they hear everybody and the principals involved show up to demonstrate their commitment to the time and management. I will speak on behalf of all my members in opposition to this license at this time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, if I may.
But no, it's not a
No,
rebuttal.
I left something out that I think is very relevant to what he just said and to the whole discussion. I don't often make big mistakes, but I made a big mistake in our presentation today. Beyond the people that I said that are involved in just the corporation itself, they're not going to manage and operate this. We have already put out an RFP for a professional management company. Today, we received responses from Aramark, you certainly know them, Sodexo, and Flick. These are all nationwide companies that manage and operate hotel facilities. They are the ones who will be operating this under contract to the school and the university authority. So there will be this is not going to be a honky-tonk operation or anything that's not by professional knowing people. This will be a company that has great experience, and we have 4 or 5 RFPs to choose from. So I just want to make that clear. So there's going to be all the insurances necessary and all the protections that it's no difference than the companies. Some of these places run Marriott hotels and some of the other bigger hotels in the hotel chain. So I apologize that I was in my haste to try to get the information out to you quickly. I skipped over that, and I know it's a very significant part of the process. Thank you.
Thank you. Yep.
Harry Brett again. I did not expect when this operation takes full effect that this would be any type of honky-tonk information. But with that being said, even if a third party takes over operation of this and there's a tragedy up there, you know who is going to be in the crosshairs. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Anybody else in opposition? Yep.
Please state your name and address.
My name is Joe Grenham, recording secretary for the Merrimack Valley Building
I'm sorry,
Trades.
sir. Can you say your name again, the secretary?
Joe Grenham.
Grenham,
Grenham. I'm from Christian Hill, 57 years. I'm with the Merrimack Valley Building Trades. And irregardless of what the attorney says, it is a dormitory. There should be some concerns about having liquor there. These are kids. I mean, as good as they are, there's problems at the university now with liquor. As the gentleman, Mr. Brett, referred to, there's canals on one side, there's a swimming pool. There's some serious issues that have to be concerned. And the people that are going to run it, why aren't they here? If they're going to be running it and they're not running it, why aren't the people that are going to run it here? Thank you very much for your time.
You're welcome. Anybody else in opposition? Once, twice, that portion of the hearing's closed. Anybody to speak in favor? In favor? In favor. That portion of the hearing's closed. You want to start? You want me to?
I think we have a note from council.
Excuse me, council.
I think that the city has concerns, as I'm sure you have, with respect to the limit of the license. What will be the area that the license will cover? What will be the restrictions contained in the license? I think those are prime concerns that the city administration has in terms of, as we know, it's floors 3 to 9 are a dormitory, and floors 1 and 2, of course, are the conference center and other residential areas for guests. So I just wanted to express the concerns that the city administration has.
Yeah. Just for comment in regards to Solicitor Fenton's, presently the hotel is, from top to bottom, licensed to serve and sell alcoholic beverages. If you're a guest in the 9th floor and you call for room service and you would like to have a beer with a sandwich delivered to your room, they are licensed to do so. This application, this transfer of license, changes none of that.
Okay. Well, you know, my first thing right away is, okay, and I explain what Deborah has Lyme's disease. She's living in Beverly, and she's going to be the manager of record?
No. I again didn't make it
Okay,
clear.
I read that wrong then.
When
Who's going to be?
No. The point I made in error in failing to point out that it will be a professional management company is we don't know who that company is. In order to file the license, we had to form the corporation and state a manager. In my notes, which I left out after I talked about Sodexo, is obviously once the closing takes place, we'll be back with Aramark, Sodexo, or whomever it is for a change of manager so that we have the actual managing person to operate the place.
Basically, then, the purpose of today's hearing is to establish a transfer to a designated party at some point in September when you take over operations.
Correct, Mr. White.
However, the name of that party is going to change once the RFP has been vetted and a management company has been selected.
Correct, before we even operate, for that matter. In other words...
Do we have a timeline, I guess, as to when the university expects to contract?
We hope maybe Joanne can answer that question for us.
Yes, we do have a timeline. Joanne Yastrzemski. My address is 51 Overlook Drive, Groton. Newly arrived on the scene there. We have 4 RFPs in our hands. We will be receiving oral presentations from those firms next Wednesday, and very soon thereafter we'll select one of those firms. We do need to negotiate the contract with them so that they're ready to be on board September 1st.
Okay, great.
No, I'm sorry. Can I also just elaborate on one other item?
Please.
Because I'm reminded by Mr. Wynn's remark. The students will be in a segregated area, and there will never be any service of any of alcohol to any student in any of the segregated room floors. So that's one of the things we certainly have made sure will be taking place.
So that won't be a problem if there were a restriction on the license that said
no problem.
No room service to any rooms that are designated as dormitory rooms as opposed to guest rooms.
Correct.
Go ahead.
Well, I guess in my life away from here, I coach college hockey, and I've been on numerous college campuses, and I've stayed at hotels that are on college campuses. And just the two that I'm thinking of right now is one, the Nathaniel Hale Inn, which is at the University of Connecticut. I've stayed there, and that's just a hotel, and you walk in and it's just like any other hotel. I've also stayed at the RIT Inn and Conference Center in Rochester, New York, which is going to be, well, which is what UMass Lowell is proposing to be, a dormitory / hotel. And there is definitely a difference between the hotel at UConn, which is just a hotel, and this proposal at Lowell with the students. There's definitely a different feel to the building. But I know UMass Lowell does everything first class, and I know they have very competent leadership there. And if it can be done at RIT, I know it can be done here at UMass Lowell. And I know that UMass Lowell's first priority is their students. And you've addressed us that you're not going to serve the students in their rooms. There will be students that are over 21 and they're entitled to have a drink in the hotel, and that's fine. But you've made that assurance. I know that the leadership at Lowell has entrusted you to make that assurance, so I would have no problem with approving this license, even though we don't know who that manager is, because Lowell does have a reputation of providing proper leadership of the facilities they run.
I would actually like, we have the manager from the Radisson. I'm sorry, sir, I forgot your name, but if you could come up, I'd just like to ask you what your current experience is right now.
My name's Steve Lambert, and I live in Nashua, New Hampshire, and I'm the general manager. I'm responsible for 10 properties, but I'm based in general managing at the Radisson Nashua, the former Sheridan Castle. One underlying thing I would share with you right away is this concept the school wants to have is, as you said, living and breathing. It's also in Johnson and Wales, and it's also at Hershey, Pennsylvania. It works. The liquor license is a coveted thing that this business is going to protect. I did at my property. I have 100 weddings a year. And when I spoke to the school, I said, just so you know, you're what's called a segment. We're going to manage your process, and we'll take care of the kids so they feel at home. But I have to worry about my 100 weddings and the $20,000 per wedding that comes with it. I wouldn't want to risk it, and it goes with the gentleman's point about a tragedy. A tragedy is as costly and is a multiply of that. So the business is set up to be that the students cohabitate and live in one area. The liquor license can be carved out, and you will prescribe what you believe is the safe thing to do, not on the floors, not out of this room. The school will have this P&L, this business that they'll want to see survive the needs of kids' housing and a Lowell venue, and they'll have commitments for people who want to spend money coming in. They'll covet that exists, so when people come. If you remember Leona Helmsley in New York City 15 years ago, Leona Helmsley was famous for having beautiful hotels in New York. She was convicted of tax fraud. That was bad, but the worst thing was here were 10,000-room hotels they had that had her name on a liquor license that jeopardized all the business that was coming to New York that would have been there. It would be the same thing for the school not to manage the alcohol provisioning within it. And now how it worked with me was James is at the school, and we were partners. I worried about my brick and mortar property, my kids' lives that were staying at my hotel, because as this gentleman pointed out, there's going to be a lot of folks at stake here. Rivers and highways and malls, they're all going to. So what happens is the kids are told at orientation, you have a unique situation, you're privileged. You're in this building and these are the rules. You have RAs who live in the building, you have a manager who's here, you have security, you have the police. And it worked well to have the police come out, speak to the kids, the parents. We availed ourselves to the kids' parents. I probably had 20 families email me throughout the year. And all along I ran a hotel that had a liquor license, 2 bars, 2 pools, the biggest hotel in New Hampshire. So I managed that process as well as the kids' housing. And it's all done, it's no different than having a citizen who doesn't follow the rules. You got those set up, they're communicated. Your occupancy permits, Your life safety permits, they're all going to specify what you want to see that building ran as. Those are the rules of the game. And his point about the manager's name not being here today, in my hotel business, a hotel manager's life sometimes isn't even a year in a certain building. What matters is that the trustees in the city know that if that manager's gone, they're back in front of you, where you see the resume, you see how that's operating, and they're real quick going to ask your permission to allow that name to be on a liquor license. So there's all that great stuff there, but it is definitely a situation that can have a lot of positives to it, and I know the school demonstrated excellent communication. One of my assets I manage, one of my hotels, is talking to a Boston college right now, and we'll house 100 rooms, which is 200 kids. In another one of my properties in Newton, worked with BC, and I had college kids there. There's many great hotel brands that are also housing arrangements. One of the schools I spoke to said to me, we got to get out of this hotel in Boston, the kids hate it. And I said to the school, well, it's the manager. It's how you're running it. Something's wrong here. The kids shouldn't hate it, because everyone will hate it. But were there specific questions I can share? I had them for just about a year.
How do you feed them?
You know what? In this, I took a look at the RFP for the school too. Aaron Marks at EXO Flick International have a ton of experience with feeding kids. How I did it in Nashua is I said, here's your dining room, here's your cafeteria. I did a menu. They're very demanding customers, by the way. Here's your menu 30 days out. You guys, you're going to eat in this area. I have a fine dining room over here. You can't go in there. There's rules. You guys, if you want to go in there, you're going to pay money. If you go in my bar and you try to use my liquor license to buy alcohol, my bartender knows if they're 40 or under, you're going to ID them. So they're going to set up a cafeteria plan for the kids. And that's a real big important thing for these kids is their food. And then you'll also, for the conference center, you're going to have something for local folks to come in, and it's not the cafeteria. It's a bistro or a restaurant, whatever works currently as a food and beverage outlet. But they're going to plan out both. I took a piece of business from the city in Nashua, a plastic symposium. It was a European group. It was about 100 scientists for a week. Stayed at my hotel, and they took a shuttle down here, and had this been up and running, I know they wouldn't have been with me. So as an outsider, I don't have any financial anything with the school. I have about 4 university experiences with housing, and as a hotelier, I can tell you that this could be a unique jobs, lab, housing, all the things that you can stipify, that you'll make sure that that the license is adhered to and the school's going to comply.
Let me ask you, have you encountered, or if you've encountered, what kinds of problems have
Yep.
been kind of unique to that situation
Yep.
with having students in a hotel
Yep.
that's running as a hotel?
And I told James, and I shared with all due respect to the schools, that my property's got to be standing still. I don't want any reputation. I don't want to be in a newspaper about any issues. So how I took care of the building is we had rigorous inspections. We respected their privacy as college kids. You know, they'll tell me their amendments and what I can and can't do, but we worked alongside the school. The school has an inspection program for every one of their dorm rooms and off and on campus housing. They have a wonderful program. A good hotel does too. Once a week, I think it was Wednesday, James, we'd go in and check the rooms. If I saw contraband, if my staff, all the way from a room attendant to me, saw contraband, he'd get an email and say, you know what, nip it in the bud right now. I don't have privy to how they discipline the students, but they never came back to my hotel. So, you know, if someone needed to be taught a lesson, I don't know where they put them. But the point is that we needed the building to be there. And I had a lot of customers that called me and said, we're going to leave your hotel because we don't want to live in a dorm. And I had to put our name on the line and say, it's not a dorm. We're going to be here when the kids leave. It just happens to be a group that's in here right now. So through inspections and through preventative maintenance, you really keep good care of the building.
All right, so I'm getting the concept that you basically continue to run your operation as a hotel with several long-term guests?
Yep. And you know what? They don't know. Listen, I have a football team that for 3 years has lived in my hotel. 75 football players live with me right above them, I'll have the president of Dell, and right below them, I'll have a wedding couple. So it's all about how you manage it. And really, to get to the point about the alcohol worries, there's a lot of smart people here, and your board can say, look, here's your liquor license, and here's the things that we want to make sure. And then when it comes for renewal or any other issue in beforehand, you specify how it can work. Most of the folks during the school year, the kids will listen because their tuition will be at jeopardy. Most hotel guests want their own business to happen. They don't really want to get interfering with each other. So if you go online, do a couple little looks at stuff like Johnson & Wales, they actually go a third step and use it to help kids earn degrees in hotels. You know, it actually becomes a lab, and people pay money for the experience.
All right, thank you.
Would you like to add anything? Because you drove all the way from Amherst. He was very well spoken, and you, Lowell, should probably hire him. But if there's anything that you came a long way, if there's anything you can add.
Hi, I'm Brenda Ryan Newton from the University of Massachusetts. All I can do is basically concur with Steve Lambert. He has said basically everything that I truly believe in as running the operation. I'm the catering director for the University of Massachusetts and also the president of the TOC Inc., which is the same thing I believe the River Hawks are going to be. And I hold the liquor license for the university there. And we have had it as a very positive experience because our focus is on communication and following rules and regulations and very much networking and being in contact with communication with local boards, with faculty and staff, and it has worked very positively. And if I had done the math on the way up here correctly, it's been about almost 40 years that there's been a liquor license with the university there.
And what kind of incidents have you come across that have been, what kind of experience would you be passing along to this new operation, to Riverhawks Inc.?
It's all about communication training and communication and hiring the right leadership and the right managers and supervisors to be watching at all times.
How many students have you put out of the place for drinking or drugs or anything like that? How long have you been there?
I've been at the university for 30 years,
all right,
actually, and I've been doing this job for about 15.
Okay.
And over that time, all of our employees and students that work, we employ about 110 students with our facility. All are trained in that. They're all tip certified. There's checking. We have very
I'm not
little.
talking about that. I'm talking about students living in the building that have gotten caught with either trying to purchase
Dean
beer
of Students. Dean of Students. Communication with the Dean of Students. We work directly with them at all times. Oh, have I? I can't even think of an incident, actually, to be perfectly honest, in my time.
You've had all these students and you haven't.
And you've held the license, you said, for 4 years?
The license is in your name.
The license is in my name, yes, it is, and I haven't had an issue. And I definitely will do that, too. The focus is not on the alcohol, that's part of it, too.
Counselor.
I just wondered if the town of Amherst, for example, what conditions they may have looked at in the license that was granted for UMass Amherst, and the city of Nashua, for example, what conditions, if any, did they impose? Is that something that?
Well, my next question to you was, have you ever gotten caught on a sting?
Not to my knowledge.
How about you? You have never gotten caught. How many years you been there? Well, you don't live there. You come over here. Come on.
Come on up to the mic, otherwise.
You know, the thing is that we've
Saturday
been sitting
morning,
here
this
for
won't
years,
be
and
able to
I don't want to play devil's advocate on this. I see this like a chemistry set, and we're mixing chemicals.
Yeah, you're right.
Okay? And we're mixing very volatile chemicals.
Could be.
Most universities divest themselves of alcohol and hockey and whatnot because of the image it presented. They did away with the Budweiser promotions and all this stuff. And I'm not saying that they were right, or, I'm not saying that, but I'm just...
Yeah.
you know, I find it amazing that you can
Yeah.
stand there and say to me that you never got caught on a sting.
Yep.
I mean, the people in New Hampshire are that much different from
You know
the
what?
people in Massachusetts?
Let me tell you, I ran the Sheridan Newton for 7 years. In Massachusetts, there's I'm not preaching to the choir. In Massachusetts, if your name's on a liquor license, you're on the list of people to lose your home when someone sues for drunk driving.
Oh, we tell people that all the time.
So when I got old enough and I got on my first liquor license, I then went and got myself a homestead insurance policy. And secondly, you have to consider, I don't know the numbers of what this property is going to do, but let's imagine it's a $5 million whatever when you count the other business it will do, or $2 million, whatever it is. Alcohol might be 10%. To be true, it might be 10. You know why? All the restaurants that you're giving these people want to go out. They don't want to eat at hotel
Yeah, but I'm
restaurants.
not,
But my point, I'm sorry.
excuse me for a second. I'm not just concerned about your serving alcohol. I'm concerned about you have students that are going to go out and they're going to find a package store or someplace that they can get a six-pack and get it back in the joint, into the hotel, okay? Now you got a problem on your hands, and that's what I'm trying to say is now, and I'm not trying to use this against you, I'm trying to get a feel for what you're saying, because I think it's a great idea, I truly do. I think that we have needed the youth in downtown Lowell.
Chairman Bayless, I believe before you said that if you had a problem, you contacted student services, so maybe he could speak to what they do with the students.
Please. That's what I'm concerned about. An RA is on the floor as a...
I left out, and I probably should have made clear, but I'm sure he will, that these students will all have RAs who are going to be watching over them.
Yeah, but an RA can only do so many rooms,
Well,
Counselor.
there's going to be one
he
on
lives
every
on that
floor. There's going to be one on every floor, and they're going to be
there's a
watching.
one on every floor in every
But
college
more
dorm.
significant than that, I don't think the university, just like any good business, is going to put its license at risk. Its license at risk.
Yeah.
Under these circumstances, tell me what that would do to the operation and costs and income of this hotel. But I'll let this gentleman speak to the housing part.
Hi, James Cole, Director of Residence Life, UMass Lowell. In terms of our staffing in the ICC, we'll have a professional residence director. He's someone who actually does this for a living. He'll live there on the premises. We also will have 2 RAs on every floor. Every night, there'll be staff members on duty who will be doing tours of the floors during the times where most often these sorts of activities that you're talking about happen. And it's, in my experience, I've been doing this for a very long time, and walls are never thick enough to hide this stuff. We have a very, very strong track record of enforcing these policies. And actually, the University of Massachusetts Lowell has a much stricter alcohol policy than any other institution I've ever been at. I've been at 4 other institutions of similar size, one actually much larger. And according to our code of conduct, after a first alcohol violation, a student is actually suspended from the residence hall for 3 days. After the second one, they're suspended for 5 days. There's other violations as well. There's other sanctions as well, including alcohol education, as well as a probationary period. After the third violation, they're actually removed from housing altogether. And we also recognize that this is a very important endeavor that we're going into, and don't want to jeopardize this program. So we'll be paying particular attention. We have meetings at the beginning of every semester, as well as throughout the year, to enforce and to talk about what the policies are and to make sure that the students understand the gravity of the situation that they're in. And if we find ourselves in a situation where we need to remove students even before the second or third violation and move them maybe someplace else on campus because they can't handle the responsibility of living in what will be our nicest housing, then that's something that we'll do. But we do take this very serious, and we do this with all the rest of our students on campus as well.
Are you going to have some kind of an ID card that they need to show to get in?
Yeah, there's 2 different, for the first year, as we're going through some of our processes of constructing, there'll be a security checkpoint in the lobby at the 3 elevators.
I mean, the students that live in that building
Yes.
are going to have a purple ID card. They're the only ones that are going to have that purple ID, because that's going to indicate they live there.
Right. What they'll have is a UMass ID card that has a proximity reader in it, and when that's swiped on a particular keypad, if they're a resident of the building, it'll go green, and that means they can go into the building.
Okay.
If it's anything other than that, they won't be able to get in.
okay? But you're gonna, now, and the same thing you say, they won't be able to get in. Okay, my brother's coming to visit me for a weekend, and I want him to stay with me, so you're gonna have some way that they're gonna have a system to be able to.
Yeah, I oversimplified, I'm sorry.
No, that's okay, I just wanna know that, because that's one of the things that, that's where, you get into all this little nitty-gritty stuff, and that's what blows the whole thing out, is you got one clown that figures out a way around the system.
Yeah.
And then, and I agree with both the attorneys. I think that, one of the things there is that, you can't, the hotel got a black eye when it opened. When it opened, okay? When it first opened, you could have talked to most of the regular people, and they would have told you the hotel will never make it. Because it just wasn't for Lowell. Let's put it that way. I won't get into the rest of it, okay? But now we're talking about doing something that, yes, it has been done in other areas. It's like having outdoor patios and allowing people to extend their area. You drive up to Nashua, they're all over Main Street in Nashua. Almost every single restaurant here got a beautiful patio outside there, a really nice one. Okay? I don't know if they have the problems, but down here you're constantly banging away at people saying, you got to leave that sidewalk handicap accessible. You've got to make, so I want to, like I said, I'm sitting here saying to you, I think it's a great, but, I think it needs to be defined. I think what the council's saying, you have down here on this ground floor lobby, 10 guest rooms. 10 guest rooms are going to be the guest rooms that you're going to rent out to outsiders? No.
We're renting out approximately 35 to 40 to
what are 10 guest
regular
rooms?
people. They're part of the group that I'm speaking of. But there would be guest rooms on the ground floor are more likely going to be small conference rooms or things like that. And let me speak to Mr. Fenton's issue there a couple of minutes ago. First of all, he indicated the city administration was concerned and had a lot of questions. This application's been pending for months, and I have not heard from a single person in the city administration about any of those things. I was at a meeting of the Arena Commission that I sit upon this with the manager this morning. Nothing, he's never indicated to me in the last 3-4 weeks, and he knows I'm counsel to the school on this matter, that he had any concerns. So maybe I'm reading something more into this than I should be, but it seems to me that if there were concerns from the city about that, we should be heard. That we should have heard them long before this. Secondly, with reference to what we're serving, when I spoke to Mr. Wynn in the first instance, not the serving, the areas for the alcohol, when I spoke to Mr. Wynn in the first instance, I said, to begin with, we want to have the same type of areas of service, the same type of operation that the current hotel has. Because one of the things we're going to have to be doing is following up when we take over this place, some of the contractual obligations that the prior owner has, and they might include functions that need service in certain rooms. Right now, and Joanne can correct me if I'm wrong, we don't intend to open a restaurant right away. We don't intend to open a bar, of what you would call a bar, right away. What we're trying to do is we're trying to walk before we run. We want to get our feet on the ground. We want to see what's there. But for us to try and come before you and say, well, we'd like to transfer the licenses, but we'd only like the hallway on the first floor, the this, the that, and whatever, just didn't make any sense. So more sensible, certainly to me, and if it's a mistake, I'll take the heat for it, was to simply say, we want the same thing that the hotel has now. And then we'll run after we understand. We get a managing company in there to know what they're doing, to tell us what we're going to do. We may not run a restaurant in there, and I think Joanne will correct me, for years. So if it's an issue of something like that. So I again, sometimes in the interest of trying to avoid the criticism that some people have said about George Eliades that he talks too much, I sometimes shorten my presentations to try and leave a few things out and move things along faster. So hopefully I've clarified a few of those matters.
after hearing everything, I'd like to make a motion to approve the transfer.
Well, wait a minute.
You can actually, you can watch it, it's available on Lowell
It's replayed
Charter.
on Lowell Cable TV at 10 o'clock on Saturday morning and 10 o'clock on
And
Sunday
I think
morning.
no, it's digitally recorded, it's audio visual. You could talk to the local cable company.
Mr. Grenham's a former student, I have to tell you.
Oh, okay.
Hey, I mean, I'm listening to everybody here. It's a one.
And I gave him good discipline, Mr. Chairman.
This is not a
along the
debate.
way.
Let's go.
It's wonderful that I hear all this stuff, but UMass Amherst, they call it ZooU, okay? I mean, come on, people get in trouble up there. UMass Lowell, there's trouble up there without alcohol being served. Yeah, I mean, what do you think you're gonna do here? I mean, let's, who's kidding who?
Well, I mean,
Anyways,
look,
but that's beside, but all I'm
I don't
looking
think
for is
that,
the minutes.
I don't
that's
think
all.
that you're,
Thank you.
ever going to eliminate alcohol from a college campus. I think we're talking about setting it up where there's a situation where it's a controlled
Well, they'd
function.
be awful foolish to make this kind of an investment, because I'll tell you, there's one thing I made a promise when I took this job, and that is nobody will ever walk through that door and say, if you did your job, my son wouldn't be dead. God help them if they get caught, whatever company they have. So they better know that going into whomever they're going to hire to handle this. I think the concept is a good idea. I think the hotel has been a tremendous waste of taxpayers' money all these years. The taxpayer deserved a better shake. Are you going to, what about police? Who's going to be in charge? The UMass police going to be in charge of the place, or the Lowell police going to be?
That's still being discussed because right now, in the interim, my understanding is that there's a security company that's currently handling the security at the hotel for the current owners.
Yeah, but they won't be there when you guys buy.
I'm sorry.
You're not
Joanne
going
can speak to that. She'll.
The UMass Lowell police will be in charge of the facility. We'll have police on site, not 24/7. We'll have resident security officers on site 24/7, but armed police will be there in the evening hours, all through the evening, all through the night.
It'll be a similar arrangement to the other UMass facilities or the rest of the campus?
Higher level.
Okay.
Higher level, yeah.
Again, I'm going to make a motion to approve the license.
I'll second.
Okay, before I call for the final vote, the only other thing, and I don't want people to leave here, and please understand, Counselor, I'm not, I'm not against this, but I think the city solicitor has a concern, and that concern is, once you hire your company to do this, I think the commission, or at least I know I want a definition of exactly what's going to.
I said that. We're coming in with them.
This is where it's going to end.
You can make that as a condition,
Okay?
that
Well,
when
you
the
know what?
management
But
company.
the problem there, Counselor, is, and in a spirit of cooperation, okay? But the problem there is, if it comes back and there's something in it we don't like, we don't want you to say, but you gave us the same license, that's a concern. We're giving you a hotel license that, the guy said, well, we had a hotel license, nothing ever said we couldn't, I'm saying that everybody has to know that we're going to all be on the same page, okay? Because we don't want to see the thing fail either. But what this gentleman said is absolutely true, and that's the problem with having an absentee manager or a manager that doesn't live around. Your management team, you know yourself, you have appeared before us enough times representing restaurant clients and barroom clients. The manager of record goes home for the night. The guy that's second in command, he's not the manager, but he's representing the manager. He doesn't take the personal interest, if you will. He doesn't take it to heart the way the manager does, because the manager knows he's going to be out of a house, or he's going to be out of whatever he ever,
I agree,
So
but I would.
as long as you understand that, we need a definition plan of this is how it's going to happen, So,
I agree, but I would submit this is going to be substantially more oversight than your typical hotel or your typical operation.
okay, we have a motion made and seconded. All in favor, say yes.
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 Good luck.
Look, and I know this is something that
Yes.
UMass, I know this is something UMass needs, especially housing. I know, we're at the point we're leasing houses, and apartments all around town to store students, so.
That's what we want to do.
What?
Thank you very much.
Wait a minute, George.
With all due respect to all parties concerned, if I can just point out one thing to the licensed commissioners, that the UMass Lowell campus police are not agents of the License Commission, just for the record. Just want to make that a point. In the motion to approve, with respect to all of the matters on the agenda, Ms. Poudry is to be the manager of record for Riverhawks Inc. The applications for in-holder, entertainment for licensed hotel, and which covers live music, disc jockey, jukebox, and also for any coin-operated video or pinball machines, automatic amusement device, they are also approved?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I just have one quick question. Are they going to come back with their person that answered that?
They're going to have to.
Successful bidder?
Right. They're going to have to come back with...
No,
Yeah, George said that. He said that. I know we didn't make that a requirement. Don't get me, whoa. Look, a little common sense. We're trying to go here. We did not make that a requirement from the table here, but I'm taking you at your word, George. You want to be able to go ahead with this deal and keep it clean. We're going to go with you, but we expect to see the manager of record. Well, not too many. You aren't the prettiest face in the world. All right, buddy.
Is this subject to state approval as well?
Huh? Yes, it is.
Subject to state?
Yes, it is, right,
So
Ron?
any
Yes.
decision you folks make today is subject to?
It goes to Boston, correct?
Right.
And the minutes, as we say, who do I request it from, the manager?
No, if you want to get a copy of the Lowell,
Lowell Cable?
yeah, LTC, they broadcast it in the mornings. You can catch it on the weekends. They've got it available.
Can we purchase?
I don't know the answer to that. You'd have to just ask LTC.
Can you?
If you ask LTC, they'll tell you how to get it.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Could I request, I'm representing the parties in the next two hearings, but I just need to send these people off. Could I request you skip me, and is there another one that you can take before that? I just need...
Yes, we've got it. We can...
I just need 3
Yeah,
minutes time.
that's fine. We've got some people who just showed up.
What are we going to do?
What does that have to do with this?
Same thing with, yeah, and in the UMass campus, you guys have full law enforcement authority on that property as well, correct?
Right.
Okay.
Practical matter, we leave all enforcement to the campus police.
Right.
But we still have jurisdiction.
And
Okay.
and I'm not certain, but do they have a SPO status within the city? UMass Lowell Police?
sure right now if they're
They don't, okay.
special state police or if they're,
They do have some special status, I just can't remember what it is.
they carry their status as Middlesex County sheriffs.
Okay.
Okay.
Commission will now open the matter of a hearing on allegations of misconduct as charged by Kenneth E. LaValle, the Superintendent of Police, against the corporation known as DNY Corp., DBA Jerry's Food Store Number 2, Bhupendra Patel, Manager, a malt beverage and wine package store licensee at 207 University Avenue. Commissioner Occasion has apparently recused himself on this matter.
Excuse me for a second. Okay, introduce yourself for the record.
George Theolides, Jr., 133 Market Street, Lowell, Mass., and I'm here representing Bhupendra Patel, who's the gentleman beside me, who's the owner of the establishment and the manager of the store. I think I can make it fairly simple, Mr. Chairman, and I'm throwing ourselves on the mercy of the commission here. Apparently, and
For the record, we're waiving the reading then of the complaint?
well,
Or,
sure.
okay.
Yes, we'll waive the reading. The only difference between what my client tells me and the police report is that he indicated that he was, if I can use the expression, snookered in this operation, because he says his statement is that when the young man came to pay for the beer or whatever it was, he asked for an ID, and the fellow said, "Oh, I left it out in the car, and let me pay for it, and I'll go get it and come back," and disappeared. Now, I know that's contrary to what the police officer says, but that's in fact what he indicated happened that day.
Did he go out of the store with the alcohol? Did he go out with the bottle or whatever he bought?
Notwithstanding that, he understands that a mistake was made and that obviously it was a sale to an underage young man. I point out that he's never had that problem before. He runs a store, a small family local store. It's critical to him that...
Counsel, let me tell you how it is. Okay, well, I'll save you a lot of talking. Okay? He asked for this. I have no mercy. He has a variety store. He has little kids coming in that store. There's no excuse whatsoever as not demanding an ID. None. No, nada. He should be suspect of every single person who walks in his store. He don't know if they're walking in for a loaf of bread, a candy bar, or a six-pack of beer. A guy that runs a package store full-time, shame on him, because he knows that everybody that's coming in his store is there to buy some type of alcoholic beverage. These guys wanted to get into this. They wanted to get into selling beer and wine. And I'm sure that he, just as many others that came before us, said to them 1,000,000 times, you're jeopardizing everything you own. You're jumping into somebody else's arena. You want to sell beer and wine. You think this is going to be, you're bringing kids, young adults. Your store is a magnet for people under 21. Which there again is no excuse for not asking for an ID. Today, it's inconceivable to me that I would be running a store and have a liquor license and not ask for an ID. I
think you missed what I said at the outset. He tells me that he did, number one. And number two...
But he didn't follow up on it.
Number two, I never question the chairman's wisdom when it comes to some of those issues.
He had an obligation to
I'm
find
saying
out.
to you, the man made a mistake. It's his first and only mistake, and I'm asking you to show, hopefully, some consideration for those facts with reference to any action you might consider taking.
Ray?
look, I'll say that, I don't care if it's a package store or a convenience store or a variety store or what the arrangement is. The standard is the same for every establishment selling alcohol, whether it's, a restaurant, a bar, or a package store of any, configuration. Can't let people leave on the, I'll come back in with my ID. I mean, I don't consider somebody who falls for that to have been snookered. I mean, that's kind of the oldest trick in the book if it happened. Any high school student knows, oh yeah, I left my ID in my car, come on.
I'm throwing myself on the mercy, I understand that, and I'm saying everyone makes a mistake once in a while. I can guarantee you this, based on what he's heard today, it's never going to happen again.
I mean, my concern is, you're the owner of the store. You're the manager of the store. When we say that it's your license and you got to worry about your employees, we're concerned that now we've got to worry about you.
You sure he's not going to do it again?
Absolutely.
Good. 1 month suspended license, and I'll suspend it for a year. If you get caught selling, you're going to be closed for a month.
Did you hear that?
Make that a motion.
That's, he'd like to say something, Mr. Chairman.
That's a motion.
After I did, that mistake, what I did, I improved, I bought, new register with caller ID check. When I scan something, beer, then, they're going to ask, when my register, okay, put, birth date, then open. Otherwise, my register not going to open also, that wipe out everything. Then next customer, yes, that technology I bought, after I did, mistake. And
yeah,
the register has got now has a, what is it,
The
a
machine.
driver's license scanner, the machine?
No, I don't, that type of, I don't have it. But what they did, when I scan beer, then, on screen, they ask, date of birth. Then I put, if, under 21, then everything wipe out. They said, sorry. If then I can take another customer over 21, then my register can take, everything.
Maybe 2 weeks, Mr. Chairman, suspended.
Excuse me?
Maybe 2 weeks suspended.
No, a month. He said he won't do it again. See, the problem with this is and I say to you the way I feel about it is it's not a fair, level playing field. If we take his liquor license away, he can still make a living. The poor guy that owns a package store, we take his liquor license away, he's out of business, he loses money. Okay? So the impact isn't the same. So I don't feel that this should be the same. This is his first offense. If you're that sure, I made the motion. If you,
I'm not going to second the motion. And my concern is this, all right? I'm not going to differentiate between the business model that he's chosen versus somebody who's chosen to sell exclusively alcohol. The person's decision to sell exclusively alcohol is their decision. They could just as easily give up half their floor space and sell, fresh fish or loaves of bread. That's a decision that every business makes as to what the composition of their sales is. And I'm not going to say, well, because the bottom line is, we could tell a package store that sells only alcohol, you're closed, yet they can still sell soda and chips and anything else that they have in the shelves that's not alcohol. I'm also concerned, if we set a precedent that we're going to have one standard that we apply to some businesses and another standard that we apply to others. So for that reason, I won't second.
you want to make a motion?
I mean,
2 weeks. Suspend it for 2 weeks, suspend it for a year. Look, George, he looks like he's ready to cry.
It was about a year. It's a long time.
Because they're in that environment, George. It's no different than the hotel. You're playing in the wrong ballpark. He's in an environment where he's got all kinds of people coming in the store. He's got to be made aware that he has to ask The moment he sells to one minor, every kid at Lowell High knows what store he went to, what time, what the guy was wearing, what was going on in the store, and how to get a six-pack out the front door. And don't kid yourself, we've seen it. You've been in here defending people. You know what I'm saying is the truth. Once it happens, it's too late. It's like throwing a rock in the pond that ripples out, and this one tells this one tells this one. Before you know it, you're wondering what happened to your business. And God forbid you should be in the other court defending somebody who wrapped their car around a tree.
Well familiar with that situation. I think you've put the fear of the Lord into him, Mr. Chairman, if I may say so. And I would ask the leniency that I know maybe he isn't entirely entitled to, but a man makes a mistake.
The License Commission, and they don't have my keys.
Again, my concern is I don't think we've handed, and I'm trying to be fair on this and treat only this license as its own entity.
I don't have the key to get in.
And that's where I'm bouncing back and forth. You know, I want to treat this license as its own individual entity. And this is, Mr. Secretary, when did we grant this license? What was the date that this license was granted?
I'm sorry.
Do you recall the date when this license was originally granted?
No, I don't.
Oh.
I'm sorry.
Mr. Commissioner, this is a recent license. I think it was just earlier in this,
November 08.
approximately a year ago.
In terms of the calendar year 2008, but the original date of approval,
I think the captain's correct. It was the end of '08 that it was originally.
Yes, within the past year. And as far as this particular violation goes, as far as the question as to whether the person who entered the store was asked for an ID, the guidelines that our young people who work with us on these compliance checks operate under are very strict. If they are asked for an ID, they're instructed to leave the alcohol on the counter and walk out and to have no conversation about it. And this particular day when we did compliance checks, total of 23 liquor establishments in the city were checked, 17 liquor stores or package stores and 6 bars. And there are only 4 that failed the compliance check. So I think that does point out that if IDs are asked for, the compliance check is over and the person leaves. And I do remember when Mr. Patel was in here for his license within the past year, you did point out to him that he was right near the university, and you pointed out to him in a very forceful manner that he was in danger due to his location of selling to minors, and they should be very careful of that. So this isn't like he hasn't heard this before.
we have a motion to, the first motion
It's
is.
for 30 days, it didn't get seconded.
Okay, the second motion
Go on.
is 2-week suspension, suspended,
For a
and
year.
a year probation. And that's still out there.
Right.
Again, it's not a sentence that we've handed down for anybody else on a first offense on a license. And I don't
But
want
you're
to,
gonna end up with more of
my concern is this.
Well, then make a motion.
I think that all stores, regardless of what they choose to sell, have to be held to the same standard and given the same treatments. So, I understand that this store, I don't know what percentage of his business comes from alcohol sales. I'm gonna assume that it's, substantial enough that he got into the business. I'm not fool enough to believe that somebody would get into the business of giving up their valuable floor space to sell something that's not moving. So, but because it is a, convenience store, it is in a location, you are very new at this location, and I am aware of other problems out there. I would make a motion for 1 week suspended for the balance of the calendar year until the renewal of the license.
I'll second it. All in favor, say yes.
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 I'd like to reiterate that, if I may.
Thank you.
motion dies for lack of a second.
Yep.
The second of your two motions. Commissioner Weiker's motion is a 1-week suspension, suspended, and that the probationary period expire at the end of this calendar year, December 31st. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I know about that.
May I approach, Mr. Chairman? I don't have copies, I'm sorry. Just brought to me now. This was not, you don't.
That was my niece.
But I'm not gonna say anything.
Commission will now open the hearing on an allegation of misconduct as charged by Kenneth E. Lavalley, Superintendent of Police, against Vijay Patel, doing business as Jerry's Food Store, malt beverage and wine only, packaged goods store licensee at 1172 Lawrence Street.
George Theolides Jr., 133 Market Street, Lowell, Mr. Chairman. I represent Vijay Patel, who is the owner of the establishment. This was the same day with the same sting operation. Two things that I think are important. Number one, as the letter shows that I submitted to the board, this gentleman had a sting operation previously and passed with flying colors. When he's there and in charge and at the register, there's never a problem. Unfortunately, and I know it sounds like, well, you know, it's the risk he takes and whatever, but he had his niece at the register and she made a mistake. She sold to a third party. Once again, however, this is a first offense. This man is, as I indicated, was a very clean record, never had a problem before, and I would ask for a similar consideration of leniency in light of the fact it's a first offense.
Make a motion.
I don't,
What?
I would think that, I didn't sit on the last, I don't even want to comment on it. I'll just,
Make a motion for a week suspension, suspended for the rest of the year.
I'll second.
All in favor, say yes.
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 Thank you.
Thank you.
So that's a motion to suspend the package store license for 1 week, suspended, and to have a probationary period expiring December 31st, 2009.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
I voted no on that. Excuse me. No.
Thank you very much.
Okay, George.
If we can just we go back to a time when we were doing simpler stuff like one-day licenses. Commission has an application that has yet to be acted upon for all alcoholic beverages for a special one-day license. Emily Kionis, could you come to the microphone, please? Emily Kionis is manager and owner, or one of the managers, is the manager of record, excuse me, of the Under Impact and Lounge, Inc. And she is looking to utilize some open area in the corner of Palmer and Merrimack Street in conjunction with the Lowell Folk Festival. So she's asking for a license for an enclosed public area at Palmer Street at the corner of Merrimack Street, Lowell Folk Festival 2009, for Friday, July 24th, 2009 from 6 p.m. to 12 midnight, Saturday, July 25th from 11 a.m. to 12 midnight, and Sunday, July 26th, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. Also, she has an amplification permit in which the Under Impact Lounge would be holding a disc jockey with a sound system for Friday evening only and Saturday evening, excuse me, Friday evening and Saturday evenings only, not Sunday. This will be the outdoor area at Palmer Street, the corner of Merrimack.
Introduce yourself for the record.
Hi, my name is Emily King, and I'm the manager of the On the Impact Pub and Lounge.
Okay, this going to be right in front of your place, Valerie?
No,
You're
that's
right
going to be on the
corner.
sidewalk, on the side of the building, Palmer Street.
Emily, excuse me.
On the side of the building on Palmer Street side?
Yeah.
Not
Okay.
on Merrimack.
All right, but it's like it's your building. I mean, it's your. I wish we. You're going to be on the corner of your building. Your building's on the corner.
Yeah, that's the one on
And
Merrimack
the area
and-
you're going to occupy is in front of your building, on the corner, on the side, in front of the side of your building. Maybe that's the way.
That's going to be we did it in 2007. That's going to be the same location that we did it before.
You did it before.
Yeah, 2007.
You're going to run on Palmer Street along the perimeter of your building, not into anybody else's building, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Let me ask you this. Your entrance is in the front of the building, correct?
Yes.
This is going to be on the side of the building.
On the side.
Are you going to have a separate bouncer, security person at the front of your building and at the side where you're going to have this, or is it going to be one bouncer for both areas?
No.
Okay.
We do, the bar open like around 9. So in the area that we have on the front for the Folk Fest, we always keep a bouncer.
Okay.
When we open the club, it's like 3 bouncers there.
Okay.
separate business.
I just wanted to make sure that you had, if you have separate entrances, that you have separate security
Okay.
people, and you assured me of that.
Yeah, we will.
Okay. And you understand about the sound, the noise, if the park is playing something, if there's a band or anything that's part of the folk festival, and you can hear it where you are, you shouldn't be competing with your music. You know, the other thing is, like everybody else, make sure the sidewalk is kept open so people in a wheelchair, can be able to pass safely. Make sure you put your license and a little drawing of your area right up so it, if the police come along, they can see it, they know that everything, okay?
Okay.
Any questions?
No, I'll make a motion to approve all the licenses that are before us.
I'll second the motion to approve all the licenses.
Motion made and seconded, all in favor, say yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
And last is just a matter to do with a public hearing on a matter to do with the Athenian Corner Restaurant and Lounge, Inc. Stavros Panagiotopoulos is the president. He's requesting for the restaurant to have a outdoor cafe as part of the licensed premises. This would be for, which is defined as alteration of premises. It would be a parking area on the west side of the building, and it would be approximately 1,100 square feet. This is a private parking. It's owned by Mr. Panagiotopoulos, and legal notice would be published in the local newspaper tomorrow, and it's required by the applicant, the licensee, to notify property owners touching in any church, school, or hospital within 500 feet. Based on city engineers check, St. Anne's Episcopal Church is within the 500-foot radius. Also, the hearing would be scheduled for July 23rd.
Okay.
We'll see you on the 23rd.
We'll have a hearing.
Thank
Okay.
you.
And let me just ask, while we've got you here today, is this the same area that we're talking about for the Folk Festival?
It's
Roughly, or in part?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
It is for the temporary license, yes.
And I've driven by there, so right now you have it set up, but you're not serving alcohol outside.
We are not serving
Okay.
alcohol.
All right, great.
Okay, great.
Okay.
Thank you.
See you in a couple weeks.
Okay.
Anything else? Anything, Captain Webb?
Nothing, Mr. Chairman.
Anything, Mr. Solicitor? Okay.
Motion.
I expressed early on with respect to the hotel. I mean, you're going to give a license to the entire hotel with floors 3 to 9 being occupied by students?
Well, let me ask, if the students were to stay at the hotel tonight, would we have to curtail their license?
If the students were to stay at...
Well, if a UMass Lowell student tonight were to get a hotel room at the DoubleTree,
Yes?
would we?
No.
Okay.
No.
I think once they, and I would hope that, I understand what this thing with the manager record and trying to be able to put things together in
Sure.
order to be able to do this. And I
It
genuinely...
makes sense. I think you gotta use some common sense as to the people that are gonna be occupying it. You're
Right.
gonna have students that are age 17, 18.
Exactly, and I,
You know.
and, you know,
They're not gonna be renting hotel rooms tonight, but they may be students occupying rooms in the 3rd to the 9th floor.
well, I think they'd be in for the shock of their life if they go ahead and make this deal and they don't give us a
No, I
defined
agree.
plan.
And I agree, and that was
Because
my
I know
only
I'd be the
point
first one to
in
make a
calling to
motion
your
to cancel the
attention,
license.
You know, to
I
be
think we have-
cognizant of that.
And I think they, at least from what I got, the university assured us that they take the alcohol very seriously, and that they're gonna have the dean of students, the campus police, the Lowell police, and everybody else, and I don't think they want drinking going
No.
on with their students, and I think they've demonstrated through their participation at the Radisson Hotel
Right.
that they're taking this very seriously, and I assume that they don't want negative publicity. So,
I mean,
they're gonna be very serious and diligent in their efforts to curtail underage drinking.
Yeah, I think what we've seen with their experience at the Radisson is that they have been pretty proactive in managing that
Wonder what they have at
situation.
the University of Massachusetts, what the town of Amherst has with respect to the license, and what restrictions, if any, the License Commission of the town of Amherst has imposed.
Oh, we could
Would
put that
that
as
not be
a
a
request,
guide?
we could put that as a request to the legal department to come up with.
Mm-hmm.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second that motion.
What is that?
It's a motion to have the law department report to us on what restrictions the town of Amherst has placed on University of Massachusetts for their liquor license.
May I ask, in what purpose may, after the fact, when the situation is, you've already made your decision on UMass Lowell, or the university's acquisition of the business at the downtown, did you wish to entertain some conditions to the,
I think what we...
I think the issue was just
hopefully we-
raised.
I think it's
Exactly.
informational
So, I
purposes.
think it's
is
strictly
what it is.
informational.
Informational purposes, plus the purpose that, I mean, certainly these people did not show up today. I don't feel that they did. I hope we're not, and we have, but I hope we haven't. We have been reassured that a defined plan would be presented to us, because what they're looking for now is to get the deal done, which you can't blame them. We got an opportunity to do, something really good for the area and whatnot. But I'm sure that we didn't leave them with a carte blanche. They understand that we expect them, when they name the actual manager of record, whomever, whatever company or however they're going to do that, that's going to be the time when the person's going to be told this is where it's going to begin and end.
okay, just to...
Is that not your responsibility, I think?
Well, that's the concern with respect to Commissioner Weiker's motion to request of the law department for information from the town of Amherst, presumably the town of Amherst, their board of selectmen, or some elected officials are the licensing authority, if they have established any conditions relative to any university alcohol licensing associated with the UMass Lowell Amherst campus, and any conditions that may have been set forth in how they conduct their day-to-day operation. Well, I'm trying to get a...
Just the hotel, correct?
Yeah, no, I guess city solicitor's office raised the issue and said, well, they'd like to know what conditions might exist. So I said, well, I'll make a motion that we go ahead and find that out.
Of the conditions
And I
are-
understand it's information being
Correct.
given to you for whatever
Right.
use you choose to
That's
make.
strictly for information.
For the University Amherst campus hotel?
Yes.
Right.
Okay.
And I think, I know not to beat a dead horse, but Attorney Eliades assured us that he'd come back in with a plan. And if he doesn't, when renewal time comes up, if we don't like what's going on, we can
Absolutely.
take that information that we get from Amherst and apply it.
Right.
So that's why we need that, we can get that information now.
Right.
And with that, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Was the other motion approved?
I thought it was approved, but...
Okay.
Yeah, it was.
Was? Okay.
All right, so then, yeah, I'll second your motion to adjourn, and we can go see Benjamin.
Okay, we're going to see Benjamin.